Good afternoon. I'll share my screen and then I'll start with the lecture. Is the screen visible? Is the PPT visible, students? Okay, great. So we'll start with today's session. I'll just sum up what we did in our previous session so that we have a link which model we are studying. In the previous session, we had done equity financing model and debt financing model. Equity in which you'll have to share the ownership and other things, debt in which fixed payment and fixed returns are involved. After completing those two models, we started with hybrid model of raising finance. In hybrid model, we are talking about multiple sources or multiple ways used all together to reach the target production budget. Now, in hybrid financing model, we'll be studying three models. Two of them which are already covered. The first one was co-financing model. Co-financing model was when multiple investors come together to invest in one single project. That was co-financing model. The next which we did was yours slate financing model. In slate financing model, a single investor, may it be a film studio, may it be a production house, may it be a uh, uh, hedge fund company, that is a NBFC, whatever, a single investor is ready to provide finance for a slate of films. Now what does a slate of films means? It is like a series or a group of 15 to 20 films altogether. And जो production house making the next 15-20 films by the same production house will be funded by the investor. This leads to sharing of risk and averaging out the revenue generated from hit films as well as flop films. Today we'll be learning what is revenue sharing model. Now it is very important and different from other models which we have already studied. Most of the time what happens is when investors are ready to invest in your business, may it be a production house, may it be a film studio, may it be a bank, may it be an NBFC company. If it is a equity sharing model, they demand equity. When that is the ownership. When they get that ownership, they expect repayment in terms of sharing the profit. After the film has been run and released and is earning profit, in that profit they are expecting certain part of the profit in return. In which kind of financing? Equity financing. But what if the investor doesn't want that? What if the investor says that I'll be investing in your media production as to the producer, he says that I'll be investing, but instead of giving me ownership, I want share of revenue. He is not interested in ownership. Instead of that, he wants a certain share of revenue to be given back. Now, what is the difference between investors who are having equity demanding profit and these investors demanding revenue? So, the two terms when I talk about revenue and profit are entirely different. Revenue and profit are different in the sense, when I say revenue, I'm not talking about subtracting my expenses from them. What I'm telling is, whatever revenue, whatever income I'll be generating, I'll sharing that revenue with you, irrespective of whether how much expense I have incurred, or I'll not be subtracting that expense first. The expense will not become part of those investors income. Whereas when I'm talking about profit, profit is something which is left at the end after paying off all the debt finance ka interest, after paying off the first priority basis wale payment, that is bank loan, might be gap financing का जो बजट है, ब्रिज लोन का जो बजट है, whatever, उन इनकम्स को पे ऑफ करने के बाद जो बचता है, that will be your profit, and those equity holders will be sharing that profit. Whereas in revenue sharing model, a certain percentage of gross revenue, or I would say a net revenue, is demanded by these investors. See how it works, or what are the key characteristics over here. So the first is investors payout. Investors receive 5 to 10% of gross revenue or net revenue until they hit a total return 2x of their investment. Of course, suppose as an investor I am investing rupees 10 lakh in certain project, media industry का producer को मैं किसी के तो project में invest कर रही हूँ 10 lakh rupees. Will I be investing that 10 lakh to get a return of equivalent 10 lakh? No, of course not. What I'm expecting is to get back my principal amount as well as a high return. So for that, over here, they will be getting a percentage of the net revenue or gross revenue till they reach the amount of returns which was discussed. It may be double of the principal, triple of the principal. Yes, in these kinds of investment, the investor expects at least double to be returned. The next is performance linked. Why performance linked? The payment fluctuates with revenue. Since it is percentage of revenue, how much amount of payment will be returning back to those investors will depend upon the revenue generated by the production or the whatever platform we are talking about. Suppose the platform is generating higher revenues at the starting. The film is generating higher revenue in the first month of the earning. So the first month the repayment to the investors will be high, but in the second month, if the investor or the film is not working well, and down the line the revenue is decreasing, so the investor will also receive less revenue. So over here, that's the reason it is told that it is the payment is performance linked. Whatever payment you are giving back to the investor is performance linked. Performance of the platform, performance of the picture, or whatever media creativity we are talking about. The next is founders control. Now, what is founders control? The founders maintain ownership and control, as investors do not get equity, board seats, or voting rights. Now, one of the important good thing over here is, since they are not equity holders, they are not getting ownership. तो आपके जितने भी क्रिएटिव या जितने भी राइट्स है, वोटिंग राइट्स हो सकते हैं, डिसीजन मेकिंग राइट्स हो गए, whatever changes you want to do, those changes are not supposed to be going through these investors, because they are not interested in working or how the प्रोडक्शन इज डन. वो आपके कास्टिंग में, स्क्रिप्ट मेकिंग में और किसी भी चीज में इंटरफेयर नहीं करेंगे. दे आर ओनली इंटरेस्टेड इन revenue, because even if they might be, they do not hold any such rights. The next is predictable for investors. Why is it predictable for investors? Because it focuses on revenue, not just profit, offering a clear path to return the investors in growing business. If suppose it is not a film which will be only in the theater for just a month or 2 months, it is a platform, online gaming platform, again part of media industry. So uski marketing hogi, uska downloading hoga, whatever money will be earned, it is a long term revenue source. So since we are talking about revenue and not profit, any part of revenue, even it is very minimum, uska bhi jo fixed percentage hai, that will be paid to the investors. A revenue minimum is 100, but if the percentage is fixed at 5% or 10%, तो 100 का 5%, मतलब वो 5 रुपया तो 5 रुपया उस इन्वेस्टर को पे होगा ही होगा. So the investors are happy enough that they'll be getting repaid, even if the payment is minimum, there will not be any negligence in the payment. The next, flexibility for companies. Of course, the companies or the producers or the creators will only go for revenue sharing model if they feel that it is good for them. So what advantages they might have? So the payments are tied to cash flows. जितना उनका revenue generate होगा उस हिसाब से payment होने वाला है. So it eases the burden during slow periods compared to the fixed loan payments. I'll explain this point in further detail. Suppose a particular creator did not generate enough revenue, but if it is a debt payment, compulsory interest payment करना होगा, making it burden or increasing the burden of the creator. But if it is a revenue sharing model, he did not worry about the payment, because agar revenue kam hoga to he'll just pay small part of it, and if revenue is more, he'll pay the higher part of that. So since the percentage will be fixed, the burden in scenarios where the income is not high will not have create trouble for the producers or the creators, thus having a good advantage for the creator. In this way we can sum up what is revenue sharing model. Again I'll say, जैसे अगर इन्वेस्टर्स है, ये इन्वेस्टर्स कौन हो सकते हैं? तो आपके प्राइवेट इंडिविजुअल्स हो सकते हैं, ये इन्वेस्टर्स HNIs या आपके SBC एंजल इन्वेस्टर्स हो सकते हैं. These investors can be institutions. Usually it is more about where, just give me a minute, somebody is in the waiting room, I'm admitting them. Okay, continuing. These investors, when I'm talking about, they are not debt investors, because debt investors would never readily agree for these are investors who may either go for equity ownership. So rather than going for equity ownership, they feel that this method of returning back or gaining back their principal amount is much better. Look at the example over here. Some example is given with basic numbers. I've included this example for a better understanding. uh, Suppose a startup is there, it raises $1 million using revenue share agreement. Now of course you'll have to have a written agreement with whatever conditions and terms are to be included, so that the both either of the parties are not confused with the repayment structure and their responsibilities. So a media company might be a production house. Of a person starting a production house or a film studio raises $1 million using this revenue share agreement. The terms of the agreement are such that they agree to pay investors 20% of the money until 2.5 times the principal is returned. Now 1 million, if you people understand how much 1 million is. 1 million is how much? Speak up. So many of you in the meeting. How much is 1 million? And what will be 20% of 1 million? Come on, tell me. Use your calcs if need be. Write it in the chat box. Come on, tell me how much is 1 million? I'm not moving ahead. Huh? Tell me how much is 1 million and उसका 20% कितना होता है? If nobody responds now, I'll cancel the attendance of this lecture. Huh? This is a very simple question. Everybody of you knows the answer and still no one is responding. How much lakhs is 1 million? I can see all of you, many of you are TY students. I believe this is a very simple question which I am asking. Okay, Ashish, thank you. You replied. 1 million is nothing but 10 lakhs, and 20% of it will be 2 lakhs. So, over here, do not get confused that when they are saying payment of 20%, it doesn't mean 20% of 1 lakh. I just wanted you to calculate that. Now, 1 million is 10 lakhs, and they are decided that they'll be paying how much back to the investors? 2.5 times, that is 2.5 millions, that is 25 lakhs. In 10 lakhs के investment पे they are returning 25 lakhs to them. The payment decided is such that whatever monthly revenue they are generating uska 20% pay hoga. Suppose in the first month the monthly revenue is 50,000, they have earned a revenue of 50,000. So the company or the producer of the company will pay dollar 10,000. 50,000 ka 20% is 10,000 to the investors. Suppose in the next month the investment drops to dollar 20,000, the payment will be just 20% of 20,000, that is 4,000. If in the next month the payment increases to 50, again 1 lakh, so 1 lakh ka 20% will be 20,000. In this way, every monthly revenues ka 20% will be paid till the total amount paid is equivalent to 25 lakhs or 2.5 millions. Is the concept of this clear? The concept of revenue sharing clear, class? I'll be sharing all those PPTs in the class group, WhatsApp group, which is there for this certificate course. Once I'm done with the session, today will be my last session of, as you people already know, I've informed that after this module 2 will be completed. Uh, with this, we are majorly done with all the techniques through which a firm can raise or a media industry can raise funds for their production work. Also, there are other techniques nowadays. These crowdfunding platforms have been using blockchain as a technology to create a better database for the working of the platform. Then there are these tokenized ways जहाँ पे आप funds raise कर सकते हो. So AI is used for बेटर कॉस्ट रिडक्शन. मतलब अगर आपको कॉस्ट रिडक्शन करना है मीडिया प्रोडक्शंस को, तो दे यूज एआई rather than using actual people for certain works like dubbing हो गया. तो now they do not need actual dub artists, they can dub it using AI as a technique. So that helps them to reduce their cost and have a better financial aid. So इस तरीके से we have covered all the techniques through which we can raise funds via uh, for media creation. The last concept which we'll be discussing today is recoupment waterfall. After discussing this recoupment waterfall, we'll be going through various case studies. And with that, I'll end my session later. So, what is recoupment waterfall? I had already discussed this word recoupment previously. Recoupment is nothing but repayment. Understand that. Recoupment is nothing but repayment. Waterfall over here suggests the flow in which the repayment will be done. So, recoupment waterfall is nothing but the structure in which the producer decides the repayment to be done for all the sources of finance he has used. जितने भी sources of finance use किए हैं, उसका कौन से priority basis पे payment होगा, repayment होगा, that is decided, or that is nothing but recoupment waterfall. Is my voice audible? Class, is my voice audible? Class, is my voice audible? Okay. So continuing ahead, recoupment waterfall we were discussing. Now in this, all the sources of fund which we have previously discussed is covered. So whether it may be your equity, your debt, or it may be those distributor advances which we talk about, they have given part of gap financing, all those kinds of money, any part of principal amount which the company has generated is supposed to be returned. So let's say the first one is the first repayment which we have to do is of nothing but sales agent commission. The first repayment is supposed to be done for sales agent commission. The first revenue which we generate, the प्रायोरिटी बेसिस में जो सबसे पहले आते हैं वो आते हैं सेल्स एजेंट कमीशन. द फर्स्ट इट इज बेसिकली 10 or 15% of the gross revenue is given to sales agent and distributors. Who are these distributors? So those handling work of theaters, आपके जो distribution का काम करते हैं कि कौन से theaters में run होगा, कितनी screens पे run होगा, in which cities and how, whatever. All those distribution channels managing is done, and for that they of course expect payment. So the first payment is done to those sales agent commission. It may be 10 or 15% of the revenue which the production or the वर्क अर्न्स, जितना भी रेवेन्यू जनरेट हो रहा है उस रेवेन्यू का 10 और 15% बेसिस पे पहला पेमेंट किसको जाएगा? तो सेल्स एजेंट कमीशन को जाएगा. Clear? The next is debt repayment. Now what is debt repayment? जितने भी debt स्ट्रक्चर के पेमेंट्स है. नाउ डेट स्ट्रक्चर इन द सेंस जहाँ पे फिक्स्ड और कंपल्सरी रीपेमेंट इन्वॉल्व है, इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट इन्वॉल्व है, उन सब चीजों का आप सेकेंड बेसिस पे पेमेंट करोगे. नाउ दिस डेट रीपेमेंट में आइदर बी बैंक लोन्स, or it can be private loans from NBFCs, or it can be bridge loans, or it can be gap financing done via those loans, or it can be a major loan taken by those things. ये सब पेमेंट होगा. The payment is such that you also pay the principal amount as well as if the interest is pending for any period. May it be, हो सकता है you might have not paid interest for certain accumulated interest है, so that accumulated interest is supposed to be paid off along with the principal amount. So the first basis पे जो पेमेंट होता है वो होता है सेल्स एजेंट कमीशन को. सेकेंड जो पेमेंट होता है वो होता है डेट रीपेमेंट. The third comes pre-sales obligation. Now what is pre-sales obligation? So pre-sales obligation is, as you people know, a term where the work is sold before even the release of the uh, क्रिएशन, बिफोर इवन द क्रिएशन इज रिलीज टू द पब्लिक, वो आपको सेल किया जाता है. और उस सेलिंग राइट्स को आप आफ्टर गेटिंग द प्री सेल्स एग्रीमेंट यू आर प्रोवाइडेड विद फंड बाय देम, सो दे आर सपोज टू बी रीपेड. नाउ मिनिमम गारंटीज एंड एडवांसेस टू प्लेटफॉर्म पार्टनर्स एंड टेरिटोरियल डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स. what are minimum guarantees? Now understand this term. Minimum guarantee is not something as a person who is providing you guarantee. Do not mislead with the word. Minimum guarantee is the payment. Minimum guarantee is nothing but a payment where a distributor pays for rights, pays a creator, जो भी प्रोड्यूसर है उसको वो एडवांस में पैसे देता है for earning future rights, वो सेल्स की राइट को लेने के लिए जो एडवांस में पैसे देते हैं हम, दैट इज नथिंग बट प्री सेल्स। प्री सेल्स में जो पैसे मिलते हैं उसको हम बोलते हैं मिनिमम एग्रीमेंट। ये प्री सेल्स के एग्रीमेंट में भी मिल सकता है, ये किसी पर्टिकुलर डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर वाया भी मिल सकता है जिसको हम बोलते हैं डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर एडवांसेस। सो मिनिमम गारंटी इज नथिंग बट पेमेंट, or where a distributor pays a creator for rights in advance, and this is again recoupable. Recoupable in the sense repayment is compulsorily supposed to be done. So when the repayment is supposed to be done, it is to all those partners involved, जितना भी आपको revenue generate हुआ है उसमें से whatever amount has been pre decided वो सब उनको क्या होगा, repay होगा। many a times वो जैसे सपोज इफ दे आर डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर तो दे पेमेंट इज अगेन यूज्ड बाय देम टू कवर अप देयर ओन कॉस्ट व्हिच दे इनकर्ड व्हाइल मार्केटिंग योर प्रोडक्शन। अब जैसे सपोज कोई XYZ डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन चैनल है, उनको आपने उनसे पैसे लिए हैं, अब उनका काम है कि ये पिक्चर चलेगी तो रेवेन्यू मिलेगा। पिक्चर चलने के लिए दे आर वर्किंग इनटू मार्केटिंग और डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन। So to ensure that proper marketing is done, audiences are interested in watching it, and thus enabling you to generate revenue is important. And that's the reason they are putting their own cost for making that happen. तो जब आप मिनिमम गारंटी के पैसे रिटर्न करते हो टू द प्री सेल्स जिससे भी आपने अग्रीमेंट किया है, और टू द डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर, दे विल यूज इट टू कवर अप देयर ओवर कॉस्ट। सेकेंडली, द पेमेंट विच यू डू इज ऑलवेज हायर देन व्हाट you have received. Also it is performance based, so it depends on that as well. So it depends on how well the production is doing, only then you can return a higher payment. So the principal is supposed to be compulsorily repaid, but other than that it is performance based on how much higher returns can be paid. They also have certain rights which they hold, that is your IPR rights or distribution rights with them. It is also a source of revenue for them. So starting with sales repayment, then followed by debt repayment, pre-sales obligation. Next comes your equity recoupment. Now what is equity recoupment? These investors who have become equity participants or are holding equity or ownership in your creation are supposed to be the amount is supposed to be returned to them. Now the amount is such that even the principal amount is returned. If I'm not talking about something which is long term, if it is a short term, मतलब एक particular film के लिए उन्होंने invest किया हुआ है, जैसे equity crowdfunding हो गया, तो they will they will want might be the whole principal amount back, and also the preferred return growth. Now this preferred return which I'm talking about is not fixed, unlike in the case of debt में interest rate fix होता है, but क्योंकि ये equity recoupment है तो यहाँ पे interest rate fix नहीं होगा, but of course since they have taken higher risk. Now why is the risk high? Because of the recoupment waterfall structure which I'm talking about. Suppose if a overall revenue generated by a film or a media creation is 100 crores, तो उस पहले के 10 करोड़ सेल्स एजेंट को पे कर दिया, फिर डेट रीपेमेंट में पे हो गया, फिर प्री सेल्स में पे हो गया, फिर जाके इक्विटी रिकूपमेंट का चांस आएगा। इट मींस दैट बिकॉज सारा जो रेवेन्यू है वो ऑलरेडी डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड होगा, तो द प्रॉफिट विच दे विल अर्न विल कंसिडरेबली बी लेस if the film is not working well. If the film is not working well, so the major commercial risk lies on who's the equity participants. बाकी सब लोगों का एटलीस्ट प्रिंसिपल रीपेमेंट या इंटरेस्ट रीपेमेंट होगा, बट अगर कमर्शियली फिल्म अच्छा नहीं करेगी तो द हाईएस्ट रिस्क व्हिच who will suffer is equity participants over here, the equity recoupment structure. Because of that they generally anticipate higher returns. अगर फिल्म एक्सेप्शनली बहुत अच्छा कर रही है तो ऊपर वालों को प्रॉफिट पार्टिसिपेशन में पार्ट नहीं मिलेगा, ओनली the equity participants who have taken these risks will get higher return. So in this way, the equity recoupment, that is payment of the principal as well as a generally return of 15 to 20% is done to them. Then at the last, distribution of remaining profits to the talent and bonus participants might be many a times those actors or the people working in the film demand the payment structure for them is such that fees plus performance based, मतलब जितना fees है वो तो pay होगा, उसके अलावा it depends on 20%, 10% of revenue, whatever the production or whatever the creation is earning. So after everything is done, they may go for these kinds of payment. In this way, a proper recoupment waterfall structure is created. Now, I hope you understand what is recoupment waterfall. It is nothing but the priority basis structure of whom the payment is supposed to be done after raising finance. Because raising finance doesn't make it your own capital, it is a liability which is supposed to be repaid. Are you people understanding the concept? React, so I'll move ahead. Okay, class, react that you understood what is recoupment, waterfall, and revenue financing or revenue sharing model. Do a thumbs up sign as such. Okay, great. Now this is a chart. There are three pointers over here. See, bank loan, assume that as a debt financing structure. Revenue financing structure is given, and venture capital is nothing but a equity financing structure. So retain equity. Now, if you're going for debt financing, your ownership is with you. Even if you're going for revenue financing, the ownership is with you. But when you are going for venture capital, there is dilution of ownership. Clear? Uh, Next is maintaining control over everything. No sharing of control. जैसे कि if made before decision making, made before changes in the script, made before casting, whatever it is. So when I'm talking about maintaining control, if you're going for debt financing, those people do not interfere with the working because they're getting fixed return of interest for whatever principal they are investing. So they are not challenging you for the control of the creation. Thus, in debt financing, you can maintain your control. Secondly, again, revenue financing, they are not going for controlling things of how they work. They are just interested in getting back their revenue. Whereas in venture capital, because they retain equity, they are interested in the working and they will control the decision making or influence the decision making. No personal guarantees. Now what do you mean by that? Understand this point. Suppose मैंने पैसा बोला collateral or mortgage or a witness or a guarantor of something which will be paid back. तो in debt financing guarantees चाहिए होती है, but in personal finance, that is revenue financing and venture capital, both the case there is no requirement of such collateral as such. There are no guarantees required. नेक्स्ट फ्लेक्सिबल रीपेमेंट्स. ऑफ कोर्स डेट फाइनेंसिंग में फ्लेक्सिबल रीपेमेंट्स होते हैं क्या? नहीं होते हैं. यू कैन नॉट गो फॉर फ्लेक्सिबल रीपेमेंट एज ऑप्शन. कंपल्सरी टाइमली रीपेमेंट होता है इन डेट फाइनेंसिंग. वेयर इज इन रेवेन्यू फाइनेंसिंग द repayment is flexible depending on the revenue which you generate. In venture capital as well, the flexible repayment, I won't say it, because starting में तो when we are talking about seeding stage or pre-seeding stage, there is no income as such which is supposed to be given back. When the company is actually at its growth stage, the revenue is given of it might be fixed percentage, it might be certain percentage of revenue, but if revenue is generated, वो payment आपको करना पड़ेगा to a venture capitalist. इजी एक्सेस ऑफ कैपिटल, बैंक लोन्स, और उसमें ना बोला है रीजन फॉर डूइंग इट इन बैंक लोन्स और डेट फाइनेंसिंग एज अ नो इज बिकॉज ऑफ द प्रोसीजर. A bank or a particular NBFC will only be ready to give you loan once they are thorough with the background checking of and have a complete assurance of the repayment. Secondly, it means that the amount which will be giving will also be not very high. Third, the bank usually, when I'm talking about public banks, will only be ready to support if the idea or creation is majorly related to cultural or social views rather than entirely entertainment. Large funding amounts, bank loans usually don't, the loans amount over there will never be sufficient to create or to fulfill the entire production, whereas revenue financing or venture capital, that is equity financing, both provide long term and high finance. Both of them provide large funding amounts to carry out business or to carry out the production very smoothly. So these are certain advantages which you face when you go for revenue sharing as a model for raising finance instead of going for equity or debt. You may even create a hybrid structure using these. Matlab, you can go for some of it as revenue, some of it as debt, and the model or the proportion in which of funds or which kinds of funds a producer is creating depends entirely on the analysis and the forecasted revenue which he assumes will be correct for his production. Okay, I'm sharing another PPT. Just give me a minute. Okay, is the new PPT visible? React in certain ways. The new PPT visible? Thumbs up sign class. Okay, so we'll be going through certain uh, actual examples in which such techniques of fundraising was used. Understand that when I'm teaching you these case studies, it simply means that whenever your exams will be conducted, this will be part of your syllabus as well. So although case studies as such as might not have been uh, taught in any other unit, but I am including these case studies, so I am expecting for you people to go through this and learn whenever your exams are nearby. Although that will take a lot of time because there are other units which will be completed first. So starting with the first example on which a fundraising was done, using which technique? Crowdfunding technique. If you people remember, we had done what is crowdfunding as a technique. We had also discussed what are the various different ways in which crowdfunding can be done. Then also that there are various online platforms which are used for crowdfunding. So one of the example or very simple, and actually I'll tell you the first example of crowdfunding was the movie Manthan. Now a movie Manthan was made in the year 1976. Why is it a crowdfunding technique? And actually क्या 1976 में online platform के through crowdfunding possible भी था कि नहीं? So understand that it is one of the earliest global example where 5 lakh farmers in India contributed rupees 2 each to fund the film. I'll tell you why the word farmers are given over here. This film Manthan was specifically done for a social message. Understand the time frame which I'm talking about here, that is in the year 1976. During this period there was white revolution going on. Now I hope you know what is white revolution. White revolution is nothing but the practice in which they wanted to increase the milk production or the dairy products. During that period, Dr. Varghese Kurian was leading this, and film producer named Bengal something. He wanted to uh, give a social message using this film. Of course, the reason was that the he did not have enough finance to produce the movie, so he went to the farmers in the country and said to them that if they could just give rupees 2 for from their earnings, rupees 2 by each farmers from their earning, so he'll be able to create a picture that will tell people their story or their point of view on this whole thing, and thus give them justice or create the demand of milk and milk products in India. You might know during that period we had increased milk or dairy production in India. So to support that whole revolution, this film was made. In this, as it has clearly stated, 5 lakh farmers raising funds of approximately 10 to 12 lakhs participated, and thus a first crowd funded, that is no loans, no equity finance, nothing. The producers went to the farmers, and the farmers who were willing gave rupees 2 each to produce the film. Now rupees 2 each during that period was quite enough, giving a fund of 10 to 12 lakhs to produce a documentary kind of film. This film was based on the story of the farmers and the poultry farmers, basically dealing with problems and thus supporting the white revolution movement. So this was first example of the case study. The next one is Lucia. Now Lucia is a 2013 Canada film. It is a Canada film in which it is actually basically a thriller drama film जो था, directed by Pawan Kumar. He was fundraising and Canada में first time crowdfunding से ये film को fund किया था. What he did was the funds were raised using a Facebook page instead of going to a platform. Facebook page use किया था funds raise करने के लिए. Approximately 50 lakh, that is उनका टारगेट ये था कि wanted to raise approximately 50 lakh funds within 100 days, but the campaign was a huge success, making him raise 51 lakh rupees in just 27 days. The campaign made him or helped him raise 51 lakh rupees in just 27 days. He did not go through a proper platform. Facebook page पे Project Lucia करके under his personal blog he started working, and he was able to raise rupees 51 lakh in 27 days for his thriller drama film. Approximately 110 to 120 investors participated. It was a huge success, and the uh, crowd participated in the campaign very enthusiastically. Veronica Mars, that is a Hollywood film. It has raised millions on the platform Kickstarter. I had already discussed. There are various online platforms, some for crowdfunding as reward based, some for crowdfunding as equity based. So this is one of the film, that is Veronica Mars, which was funded raising millions using what? Kickstarter as the platform. So one of the example of case studies which I have taken over here is for crowdfunding technique. The next is slate financing. If you remember what slate financing is, it is over here that studios or private equity firms invest in a pool of multiple films rather than in a single project by a producer or a creator. This mitigates the risk from potential loss if one film is flop or is not a commercial hit. तो जो मैनेज आउट हो जाएगा आपका, इसलिए जो इन्वेस्टर्स होते हैं दे माइट गो फॉर स्लेट फाइनेंसिंग. नाउ मेजर ओटीटी प्लेटफॉर्म्स इन इंडिया or overall though not in India basically because they're not Indian owned, but platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime often use slate financing. How do they use this slate financing as a technique? Understand, they will fund all the original series which will only be aired on their streaming channels. मतलब जितने भी आपने नेटफ्लिक्स की ओरिजिनल सीरीज है वो सबका जो फिनेंसर होगा वो कौन होगा, नेटफ्लिक्स खुद होगा. सो सपोज इफ अ पर्टिकुलर सीरीज गेट्स अ वेरी हाई डिमांड एंड इज हेल्पिंग जनरेट हाई रेवेन्यू, it the profit of those revenues can be used to set off if a particular film or original Netflix film is not working well. तो उसका प्रॉफिट इसके लॉसेस के साथ आप क्या कर सकते हो, सेट ऑफ कर सकते हो. This is one of the very good example when I talk about slate financing. Another case is where a 17 to 18 picture deal was done between Sony Pictures and Universal Studios. Now Sony Pictures and Universal Studios are film studios and production houses. उन लोग साथ में काम कर रहे थे 17 फिल्म के लिए. Of course, when I'm talking about 17 to 18 films, I'm talking about a huge amount of money as well. So a relativity media. Now what is relativity media? It is a company. It is a company that is a hedge fund kind of a company that committed to provide how much funds? Dollar 600. Again, how much funds? So dollar 600 million. uh, the transaction set off between them for 17 to 18 films between whom Sony Pictures and Universal Studios, backed by dollar 600 million funds from which company? Relativity Media. So these are two parties and Relativity Media is the hedge fund provider. So all of them will be sharing risk and they'll be working together and providing finance for 17 films. The profit or the proportion of profit in which the investor is supposed to get the money back will already be discussed while the terms and the contracts will be written. So in this way, these are two examples where a slate financing as a technique is used by industries or media productions or film houses in actual cases. Okay. Before continuing ahead, I am giving you 5 minutes break because it is already 1 hour. I'll take 30 to 40 minutes of more session so that I can complete whatever is left. After 5 minutes, I'll start again. Do not leave the meeting. Be in the meeting itself. Okay, we will resume. I hope everyone is there. Okay, so we will resume and start again and continuing with the examples further. So the next example which I'll be taking is for pre-sales and distribution advances. Producers sell the rights to distribute a film in special territories or formats. Example, it may be theatrical, it may be TV, or it may be digital before the film is even completed. These contracts are then used as a collateral to secure production loans from bank. Because these contracts become an asset for the production houses, they can then use it as a collateral or as an asset to obtain loan. So examples of this is Doom and Doom 2. Now these blockbuster films, I know all of you will be aware of these film series. So these used pre-sales and distribution agreements, often backed by institutions like Exim. Now what is Exim? Export Import Bank of India. Many independent horror films who are basically not from any uh, reputed or any high budgeted production house or film studio depend on pre-sales and distribution deals as a part of their major financing source. See, if it is a proper budgeted film or a high budgeted film, majority of it is covered from your equity or debt financing rather than pre-sales. But pre-sales is again one of the important. It is almost every media production industry will go through pre-sales, because any which way they'll have to distribute the work to the audience, and for that they'll have to go via these distribution channels. So why not take a advance from them rather than going for credit or your equity or debt financing. So people always go for pre-sales as a technique of raising funds. Now, other than that, there are some additional examples included. One of that is product placement and brand tie-ins. Now, brand मतलब आपको पता होगा the over here I'm talking about various product brands which help or pay the media industry. Now, why will they do that and how? So, whenever you are watching films, or you might be watching certain shows, you might be watching certain uh, may it be a comedy show, may it be live event, awards event, you over there see that it is sponsored by many of the commercial brands which may or may not have any relation with the event going on. जैसे कि a comedy show sponsored by a masala brand doesn't matters, कुछ भी नहीं है. स्पाइस के ब्रांड से वो स्पॉन्सर हो रहा है, doesn't matters. बट वो स्पॉन्सर क्यों करते हैं? बिकॉज देन दे विल बी शोइंग द एड्स ऑफ देम इन द प्रोडक्शन. ऑल्सो दिल बी रिटर्निंग दैट, उनका जो बैनर्स रन होगा उसकी वजह से उस प्रोडक्ट का भी प्रमोशन होता है. सो फिल्म मेकर्स फीचर्स ब्रांड्स और प्रोडक्ट विद इन सीन्स इन एक्सचेंज फॉर डायरेक्ट फंडिंग और क्रॉस मार्केटिंग सपोर्ट. Chennai Express collaborated with major brands like McDonald's and Lux to boost their visibility and revenue. Simply explaining, suppose if there is a hangout scene in a film, or वो hangout scene में they want to work or show a particular cafe or something. So if they are going to shoot in that particular cafe and show that brand, they might uh, demand finance, or the brand might readily pay finance to them to show their particular brand in the movie or to feature them. Many a times you might have seen in basically in serials, comedy shows or something, the sitcoms, they are using a certain product again and again and talking about it again and again. It is nothing but a promotion strategy for the brands which they have taken money from. So it is one of the technique where the producers can use this way. Just featuring of those brands will have them a certain amount of money in hand or help them raise certain finance. So this is one of the where you tie up with brands and products to ensure that you are
gain, both of the parties are gaining some fund, not just the producer, but the producer as well as the brand will be having advantage. Over here, the repayment is not in terms of money. The repayment is terms of making it or promoting it via your production or via your creativity and film. So it is more about you, the as a producer you are increasing the sales or uh, goodwill of the brand, and in return the brand is paying you money, just like collaborating. Next is government incentives and tax relief. Now, government incentives and tax relief, we had already covered this as a topic, that how the MIB, that is Ministry of Information and Technology, via FFO works, and then there is NFDC as an institution, how they provide debt financing. Also, there are states, various states which might help or provide subsidies. They give you tax reimbursement or 0% tax reimbursement in certain cases. Sorry, 100%, not 0%. 100% tax reimbursement in certain cases, to promote their film tourism, to promote their state via film tourism. Also, they might provide you subsidies for shooting in their particular लोकेशन, किसी पर्टिकुलर लोकेशन पे शूट हो रहा है, उसके लिए वो आपको क्या प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं, सब्सिडीज प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं. तो इस तरीके से गवर्नमेंट प्रोवाइड इंसेंटिव्स एंड सब्सिडीज to these film producers. Let's understand certain examples where this cases were actually happened. So there is an example which I have taken first for is the international level. The second is one of the Indian example. So starting with the first one, UK film tax relief. Now FTR. Now film tax relief. How does that works? Extensively used for major productions filmed in the UK. अगर यूके में वो कोई फिल्म की शूटिंग कर रहे हैं तो वहां पे आप यूके फिल्म टैक्स रिलीफ एज ए क्लॉज या इस एक्ट का फायदा उठा के इट यू कैन बी these things are funded by whom? The British Film Institute. BFI will help you or raise you finance. The government over there, if you are shooting in UK, will help you raise finance and also give you certain tax benefits. Because in return it will create employment in the region. The next is Uttar Pradesh in India offers financial incentives to films that highlight local tourist destinations. Of course, if they are highlighting local tourist destinations is an important part of the film, what they do is they provide subsidies. Now Uttar Pradesh government, every state has their own film policy, but I'll just have taken example of Uttar Pradesh. Now it's all under 2023 film policy, where they encourage producers to film in UP for cost saving. Now why will is it cost saving? Because जो भी उनका प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट होता है उसका 20% या 50% तक वो क्या कर सकते हैं, तो दे सब्सिडाइज करते हैं या मतलब रिटर्न कर देते हैं उनको as a part of the film policy, because this will boost the local industry. This will create a proper बोलते ना इकोनॉमी डेवलपमेंट में, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चरल डेवलपमेंट में हेल्प कर सकता है. फीचरिंग ऑफ दोज प्लेसेस रेवेन्यू जनरेशन में हेल्प कर सकता है. So इस तरीके से to earn those benefits, to push or to provide an incentive to the filmmakers, they provide subsidies on these large scale. There is another example. I know if don't if you people might have heard about the Sabarmati report, the film Sabarmati report. How many of you have heard about it? Is my voice audible to you people? Class, react with a thumbs up. Is my word audible to you people? Vraj, Jay, Ashish, react in a certain way so that I understand that am I audible to you or not. Okay, thank you. So, okay, great. moving ahead, yes, I was discussing with you the Sabarmati report as a this the film Sabarmati report. If you students might have heard about the film, it was a film which was actually based on the event of the Sabarmati, the whole incident which happened in Gujarat. Now, since it was a film which had a social or real life incident, what did the UP government did that it made it tax free in the state. Now, what does that means? That the tickets were all tax free. The tax charge of those tickets were reduced, leading to two things: reduction in price of the tickets, thus encouraging more and more audience to go and watch the film. This was a very good thing for the producers, of course, because they had a higher audience and higher revenue generation because of a simple decision of the government. Although the film was not shot in UP, of course, it is something which was primarily shot in Gujarat. The uska shooting पूरा गुजरात में हुआ था, but other than that, because of the social message which this film had, or the actual incident, to decode everything, how and sequence of incidents which was shown in the film, to support that, the chief minister said that it is being made tax free for all the audience. And UP was not the only state which did that. There were many other states which who made the film tax free, leading to increase in revenue for the producers and giving a higher audience. So this was one of the way in which the government helped the producer. I'm taking certain examples so you have a better understanding of how actually these things work. So in this way, government can either provide you tax benefits, can provide you subsidies. In India as well as internationally, these things happen. The last one is debt financing and equity financing. Now both of these are already discussed. Equity financing is something which when a film or a company production goes for venture capitaling or goes for lending funds from private equity, giving them ownership stakes, that is equity financing. Debt financing is, of course, when a company takes loan from various big industries. Now, Veer Zara, I hope you people remember or you know about this film. Veer Zara was a film which had received a debt financing from which bank? Exim. Now, when I say the word Exim, how many of you understand the full form, or which bank am I talking about? What is Exim as a bank? It is Export Import Bank of India. Now, it is a very important question which should come to your mind. How come Export Import Bank of India is providing loans to film industry? Why is that the case? Export Import Bank usually deals with exports and import, as the name itself suggests. So how and why is it here giving finances to the film? In the previous example also, when I said Doom and Doom 2, वहां पे भी जब उसने प्री सेल्स किया था तो उसको कोलैटरल किसके लिए यूज किया था? To take loan from Exim Bank. So why is that the case, that the bank which is responsible for handling all those things is getting involved in providing finance to the industries? Okay. Sorry for the disturbance in the background. I'll make sure that that is minimum. Uh, so continuing ahead, I was discussing Exim and why is it involved in film fraternity or film industry and providing loans to this film productions. Understand that this Export Bank of India has a mandate of providing this loan based or debt based finances to the film industries for earning or for encouraging high foreign exchange earnings. Understand this. a film production or a film when run on an international level. आपको पता होगा बहुत सारे इंडियन फिल्म्स है जो कि वर्ल्ड वाइड रिलीज होते हैं. फिर अभी टुडेज तो अभी ऐसा हो गया कि ऑलमोस्ट एवरी गुड फिल्म इज बीइंग रिलीज्ड ऑन इंटरनेशनल लेवल एंड नॉट जस्ट इन इंडिया. So for that, when earnings are done, it is the earnings which we earn is which kind of earning? Foreign earnings. Foreign earnings है तो वो आपको फॉरेन एक्सचेंज इंक्रीज करता है. फॉरेन एक्सचेंज इंक्रीज कर रहा है, दैट्स द रीजन जो एक्सपोर्ट इम्पोर्ट बैंक्स होती हैं वो सपोर्ट करती हैं उन टाइम्स के पिक्चर्स को. तो इंक्रीज या जिसमें पोटेंशियल होता है हाई फॉरेन एक्सचेंज अर्निंग्स का, ओनली टू दोज फिल्म्स. नाउ हाउ डू दे आइडेंटिफाई दिस? सो अंडरस्टैंड सिंपली कि दे विल provide loans to only those film studios or film industries or producers who have a track record of giving super hit and blockbuster films, who have a track record of earning more and more revenue. because जिन पिक्चर्स पे रिस्क है, जिनका आपको यही नहीं पता कि ग्राउंड लेवल या इंडियन लेवल पे या डोमेस्टिक लेवल पे सक्सेस कितना होगा, तो आप उसको इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे स्पॉन्सर करने की कुछ नहीं सोचेंगे. बट ऐसे प्रोडक्शन हाउसेस जिनका सक्सेस रेट हमेशा से अच्छा रहा है, या ऐसे मल्टी स्टारर या सुपर स्टारर या मेगा स्टारर फिल्म्स है जिसमें सक्सेस रेट के चांसेस हाई है, उनको वो क्या करते हैं तो लोन प्रोवाइड करते हैं. इट इज only given to films who have high international potential revenue. Priority is given to only those kinds of films. Also, then there can be security, they'll of course demand for collateral. The collateral can be in terms of assets, it can be in terms of securities which they have. Since it is a loan, loans are supposed to be paid by interest over here will always be a bit higher than the regular market or bank loan interest rate, because of the simple reason that it has greater risk over here when I'm talking about international earnings. So to compensate that greater risk, the interest rate which they charge is usually higher than the repo rates or the current market interest rate. If you people might have heard of MIBOR, that is Mumbai Interbank Offer Rate. तो माइबोर आप इंटरनेशनली बात करते हैं तो लाइबोर होता है, बिकॉज वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इंटरनेशनल. लाइबोर इज एक्चुअली लंडन इंटरबैंक ऑफर रेट. तो उन इंटर बैंक रेट्स से भी थोड़ा सा हाई रखने की कोशिश करते हैं टू कंपेंसेट एक्सचेंज रेट रिस्क. जो रेवेन्यू जनरेट होगा वो कैसे होगा तो इंटरनेशनल करेंसीज में होगा, उसको वापस से दे विल हैव टू ट्रांसफर इनटू डोमेस्टिक करेंसी. while transferring they will have to suffer exchange rate risk because of the fluctuations in the exchange rate of the currencies of the different country. So the interest rate which you pay on these kinds of loan is usually higher when compared to domestic loans. Now, which are the famous films or famous production houses which have earned this loans from Exim Bank? So Doom, of course, as I said, Veer Zara, as I said, Bunty or Bubbly is a movie which had received. Then Dawn movie. These are certain good films which had received funding or debt financing from Exim Bank. Now, when I'm discussing Exim Bank in this detail, it doesn't mean that it is the only bank which provides loans. Just understand this. Just understand this, that Exim Bank is not the only bank which provide loans for these kinds of things. There are other development banks which may provide loans to films or film industry. Now, one of the bank is IDBI, that is Industrial Development of Bank of India. Even these kind of development banks will provide loans or debt financing to the film industry. Is it clear? Okay, students, do you have any kind of doubt? Write it in the chat box. I'll wait for you people. If you people have any kind of doubt. Tell me if you have any doubt, or are all the examples clear? Uh, I tried to cover as many real life industry examples that were possible to ensure that you have a proper understanding of how, not just in theory but in practically, these concepts are used to raise funds. While explaining, also, I tried to, I know it was all theory, so might have been a bit monotonous for me speaking alone because none of you were participating as such in speaking. But then I hope you people understood all the concepts very thoroughly. And if you have any doubt, do tell me. Okay, if there is no doubt, just put a thumbs up so I'll understand, and then I'll go towards the ending of the session. Class, give me an indication you people are hearing. So only one of you is hearing. Good, great. What about others? Okay, great. Okay, so assuming that you people are clear with all the examples as you said, I'll be winding this session. Uh, Next unit will be covered by somebody else. With this, we are done with unit 2, covering all the sources of whether it may be traditional or modern or hybrid of raising funds, covering all the case studies or real life industry examples as also to have a better understanding of the concept. Uh, all these PDFs will be shared to you people shortly, along with the YouTube links of the recordings, which I'll be uploading on my channel. So those people not attending may be able to go through it. Have a good day ahead and Happy New Year to all of you. You people are now allowed to leave the meeting.